Hello, Internet. This is the Adventurers Guild. I'm Steve.
Still Jesse.
And you're watching Show and Tell.
Ooh.
It's time for the show. What show, you ask?
Show and Tell.
Hello, everybody. Here we are for another lovely time with Show and Tell.
Ooh.
Quick announcement before we get started. I would just like to very much thank everyone who's been tuning in and checking us out.
Especially you.
It was just the last Show and Tell that we said thank you for hitting 100 subscribers. Well, we are proud to announce that we have now hit 650.
What?
Can you believe it?
That is
Thank you
unbelievable.
so much.
You
have no idea how much it's appreciated.
You so much.
Don't forget that guy right over there.
About you, always.
All right, now down to business.
What's down to business? What are we talking about today? Anything good?
I mean, it's definitely not Star Wars related, right?
Oh.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun,
dun.
Okay, we're doing the Imperial March. All right, yeah.
What's today's theme, bud?
Favorite Star Wars games of all time. Everything's on the table. Any system, any product, well, any video game, of course. We're talking about, you can go all the way back to Nintendo, all the way up into recent releases. So
PC, don't matter. We are platform agnostic here at the Adventurers Guild. So
good word use.
Thank you.
Look at this, man.
Anything. I've been reading the dictionary. Thesaurus,
It's
etc.
impressive. I'm not gonna
So
hold you there.
best/favorite Star Wars game. They kind of go hand in hand, I guess, in this particular
This
instance.
would make sense.
So
This week, I'm winning though, because last week, or last time, not last week, Steve whooped me, and it hurts. That was I went to work with my head down. My children were like, "What's the matter, Daddy?" And I was like, "I've been hurt." real bad."
before I want to change things up a little bit here, and I haven't told you about this yet, but it feels so important to me that I had to get this out quickly and in the beginning. I had the most difficult time picking the game that I went with.
Nerd.
My original choice was Star Wars X-Wing, which was the original PC flight simulation Star Wars game, predecessor to Star Wars TIE Fighter, predecessor to X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. That was my original pick.
What about Starfighter? Is
And
that
then
included in that?
It does not. Well, actually, I don't know if it technically is or not, if it's part of the same series. It doesn't matter. So, I started racking my brain. Is that truly the best? It's definitely what I spent the most time on, but was it the most important to me, or do I consider it the best? And I felt that there was two that trumped that. So, my runner-up, and only because these are so close together is why I'm showing these off, but my runner-up was, for the Nintendo 64, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, I love that game.
Plays Kyle Katarn.
That's right. It's blue one.
You
Yeah.
flying the Outrider.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very wide open, just adventurous action game, adventure
I haven't played
platformer.
that game in years.
So amazing game, and it was so close to my number one, but it's not. Okay, now my heart feels comfortable enough to decide. And I truly think that you're going to be very surprised at my pick, but it is a phenomenal game.
Are we doing it at the same time?
Shall we?
All right.
3,
I know, I'm getting nervous.
2, 1.
Boom!
Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Nerd! Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic.
I would like to point out that this is technically the PC version. I'm actually referring to the Nintendo 64 version, but they're the same game. But my actual choice is the Nintendo 64 version, but again, this is the PC version.
This is the best of Star Wars, but you can do a little zoom up. You can't probably. I don't know. Can you guys in the new fancy screens?
We can
see
zoom.
Knights of the Old Republic comes right in fancy. This little Bastila on the front there, one of my favorite characters.
We got a whole production company now. We can do all kinds of things.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Billy.
Stop it.
They're just a bunch of goblins running around back there.
Oh, we need to unionize.
Oh man.
All right, so yours was, I guess, technically for you, since you had an Xbox, you were specifically referring to the
the
version,
Xbox
on the
version,
Xbox
absolutely.
version, right? And that's the older.
I actually slipped up the other day and started talking about this game to you and got emotional because I just love it.
I had a sneaky suspicion that was going to be your pick. Did you have any idea it was going to be my pick?
No. I assume because you're so big into your RPGs and everything like that, it was going to be an RPG related.
Yeah.
I actually thought you were going to go with Old Republic, the
I actually
MMO?
considered that. I think I placed that like around number 4 or number 5.
Yeah, so that was,
Yeah. It's a good thing I didn't because they're so similar, except for the
They
ones
are.
in MMO.
Yep.
All right, who is going to kick it off?
I went first last week. You want to go this week?
I will go. Okay, Star Wars Rogue Squadron for the Nintendo 64. Because, you put a CD in the Nintendo 64.
Yeah, the CD-ROM. That's the sold too.
Okay. 6 months after Star Wars A New Hope,
Okay.
Luke Skywalker is now the commander of the elite Rogue Squadron.
Well, everybody else is dead, so yeah.
16 epic levels of starfighter adventure. You
Okay.
fly in the X-Wing, the A-Wing,
Okay.
a Y-Wing bomber,
Ooh.
all sorts of intergalactic, on-planet, in-space missions, super adventurous. As you fight in an arcade simulation flying against the Empire. Going back to Star Wars X-Wing, one of the reasons I almost picked that is because I love Star Wars flight simulator type games. I love the feeling of being in control of an X-Wing. So I figured, why not the simulation, Star Wars X-Wing, the game for the PC. But then I got to thinking, as great as a game that is, sometimes you just want to have a little bit of an arcade adventure.
Right.
And that's exactly what this is. It's not a simulation game. It is a straight up arcade flying game. You jump in your ship, you take off, there's not a whole lot of things to worry about. Your pitch and your yaw. You just fly an X-Wing, you go to Baker's Canyon, you bullseye some womp rats, you just have a grand old time,
Reference.
Luke Skywalker. And it's got 3 unlockable levels. You can unlock Hoth, so
Okay.
you can jump into Snowspeeder, you can zippity-doo-dah around an AT-AT,
Doo-doo-doo.
or at, depending on which side of the coin you're on here. Drop them like that, like a true champ. You can do Beggar's Canyon, once again, bullseyes and womp rats, and everyone's favorite space combat mission from the movies.
Death
you can
Star.
unlock the Death Star Trench Run,
Yeah.
which, of course, is in basically every Star Wars game that involves flying. But
Makes
my
sense.
God, is it exciting! And to top it all off, because again, I'm specifying the N64 version. How awesome was it? It's / expensive, unfortunately, to have the game and to be like, this game is so hardcore that not only can you play it on the N64, but if you want to play it with power, now you're playing with power, Nintendo power. You can acquire yourself the 4 megabyte Nintendo 64 RAM upgrade. You take the top off the N64 and you jam that sucker down in there.
Jeez.
You got 4 more gigs of video RAM to play at an increased resolution, and hoo-hoo-hoo, boy, does
See
that
those
game
pixels?
look mildly better. But boy, is it exciting to put that red fancy expansion card in there and giddy up, baby, you're playing with power.
What year was this when it came out?
1990. Yup.
That's right. Steve did his research. All I'm saying is I'm pretty sure at that time it was like you looked at that little bit of extra RAM and you're like, wow, this makes the difference. That's an interesting. So, 2 questions about your pick.
Okay.
Why not Rogue Squadron for the GameCube? Because that to me,
It is a superior game. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that because
No,
I do
I
think
definitely do.
I do think this is the best. I said this is the best game, not just favorite game. So, it's most times when you have a game series, future iterations will improve upon it. Mario Galaxy, for example, Mario Galaxy 2, by most accounts, is probably better.
Yoshi. Yeah,
Right.
Okay. That's
But the thing is, there's something to be said for the original. And again, this is going back to, technically better, blah blah blah. But when you have something that sets the foundation, it's like, what's the best? Not to talk about like different thing in general, but like look at cars, for example. Like, what's the best Mustang? The newest Mustang is probably the best Mustang.
Right.
But if you ask any car head,
they're gonna say,
Gearhead, the
this
best
seven-
Mustang is the 1965
Yeah.
Mustang Fastback V8. You know what I mean? But it's
1978,
not
that's
the
mine.
best.
Yeah, I see
but
what
it
you're
is
saying.
the best. So I think the game that defined the arcade Star Wars flying genre was Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which I think makes it the best one. The other ones just iterate.
Oh, Steve has a little motion.
Top that, baby! Let's hear about Star
Oh, I
Wars.
still got my second question to
Oh,
come at
fair
you.
enough. All right.
Luke does the trench run in the game in the bonus level. In that game, does Luke do the stupid thing he does in the movie? Where, if you guys remember, why they were doing the little plans for the Death Star, and they say, don't worry about shooting the outside, it's impenetrable, go for the trench. And Luke still, what does he do? He shoots the outside of the Death Star and like knocks over 2 stormtroopers. Like, that's it. Can you do that in that game? Because if you can't, I don't want it.
You cannot. Well, actually, maybe you
There
can.
it is.
I mean, it's not.
I win.
All right, fair enough. Well, I like what you did there.
Thank you.
All right, now to the meat and potatoes of Mr. Jesse's certified loss.
Oh.
Not to the Old Republic.
That is my chuckle. I'm going to take you back to,
Where's your shirt?
once again. Okay, right. I love my shirt. All right. I don't have a Star Wars shirt. I realize that. I'm a huge fan too. It's terrible.
I got a bunch. You can borrow one.
So, yeah, because I'm going to fit that. That makes sense. So let me take you back. It was 2003. I get an Xbox for... Yeah, I get an Xbox for Christmas. I'm really excited. I asked for a few games, and I get a surprise game, Knights of the Old Republic. And I put this in my Xbox, and I go on a journey like no other. So the game, if you've never played it, takes place 4,000 years before the rise of the Galactic Empire. You play as literally the Knights of the Old Republic. You're on the faction of the Republic while they're getting destroyed by the Sith. The Sith have pretty much taken over, and you're trying to win back the galaxy. And it's an RPG at its core, but at the same time, so the combat, I'm jumping around, it's so good. Combat is amazing because it's all RPG elements. You still pick your attack. You have your different, we'll say potions, but your med packs, your stamina boosts, shields, all that stuff you can carry around, but it's all in real time still. So if you have a blaster and you're fighting somebody with a sword, you can create distance and keep hitting that attack button, and it's a fantastic game.
Unlike most RPGs of the time, it is not turn-based.
Not turn-based,
It
right.
is a real-time RPG.
And then the best part is if you like that turn-based, you could turn that on in the game. So you could
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you could really have both options. But so the gameplay was great. The look for the game at the time was just gorgeous too. It was a beautiful game. The character you create in the beginning, you had a lot of different selection. You could make a male or female. It had to be human, but you do a male or female. You picked your different. I think it was scout, soldier, and I can't remember the last class that you could pick from. And then you made your character, and that's who you kind of played as. You named him whatever you wanted to. I always felt weird naming a Star Wars character Jesse. It just doesn't fit in the universe, so I always name my character Jay. Jay sounds so much more Star Wars-like.
I can see that.
So, and the story of the game, you follow that character throughout, and because you're kind of introduced with that character, and that character has a lack of memory in the beginning of the game, they use that to the point to give you some dialogue or extra needed thing to give you the history of what's happening and how the Sith got there in the first place. But I don't know if you remember this. One of the best parts of the game is the story they provide you is amazing. But if you do all the side missions, side quests, diary entries, data packs, everything like that, you get such an expansive story with the game to the point where it made a sequel to it that I felt was completely unnecessary because this game is a fantastic.
The sequel is not. This is one time when the sequel is not superior.
No,
the sequel is rough around the edges.
It was very rough. Literally only played the sequel because of how amazing the first game was. So I'm going to get in spoiler territory, and yes, I know the game was from 2003, but this game is so good that it is, I'm giving you a warning now, so I'm even going to hold my hand up. While I'm talking spoilers, the hand's going to be up. When I put it down, it is safe for you to listen again
Wow,
if you
here
don't
we
want
go.
spoilers. Alright, so in the game, you're playing as this created character, and then at a certain point in the game, let's say midway?
Depends what you're going for here.
I'm talking about the big reveal.
Oh, okay. Then about roughly around halfway.
Right, so midway in the game, the whole set of the game is you're fighting this evil Sith Lord named Darth Malak, and his master, who started the war with him against the Jedi, to turn their back on the Jedi, was named Revan. Well, Revan was killed in the beginning of the war, so you're dealing with Darth Malak, who's even worse than him. Revealing halfway in the game, though, you find out that the character you've been playing as is Revan. He survived the attack from the Jedis, and the Jedis used his body to be the ultimate weapon. So they wiped his mind and sent it back in there. So that's why you're playing as a character with lack of memory. And you get this information, and you do what you want with it. You either go completely light side direction or you go right back to path to the dark side. But I remember being a kid and the way the reveal happens is Malik is looking at you and he says, remember who you are. And it has all these cutscenes of things in the games that didn't make sense and people thinking they recognized you. And then it shows Darth Revan, who has this dark cloak on and this mask, and he takes the mask off, revealing your character that you made's face. Mind blown. Granted, I was like 15, but still, I'm pretty sure I would have been like, it was insane. So I know somebody out there has felt that moment with me, and it was incredible. All right, the hand's going down. But you remember. Woo! God, I'm still emotional about that. Top that story, son.
So
if somebody's coming back, they're confused.
I will say
Top that story.
that on pure raw emotion, I thought that you were not selling it well enough when you were going through the ins and the outs of the game, and I felt that I was surprised that you were not as excited as I expected you to be. But once we got to your spoiler, you became another storyteller. You became another person here when you were telling that. So props to you on that.
Emotional.
You pulled it right back.
So
Tugged at the heartstrings.
only other thing I want to add about this game is I'm somebody that loves a lot of choice in game. Steve, you do too with your RPGs. You technically can get a class of 9 characters, not counting yours, depending on how you play the game. There's certain characters you can kill off and you'll never get them in your party, or certain characters that you never want to interact with, so you never get them in your party. So I'm somebody that's a bit of a completionist when it comes to certain games, so I like to get all 9 characters, but if that's not how you wanted to play, you have that option. If you want to play where you want to rush through the game, you play Dark Side and you can rush through things without buying certain things or leveling up a certain way or cheating to get to there, that's an option in the game. Or you could go light side route, and the game's a little more tougher, but you feel better about it.
Right.
So I'm sure you played light side, that's what I always did.
I did, always. I'm always the good guy.
So, and then to end this, do you remember what happens when you have your light side leveled all the way up, how your character looks?
Is there an aura? Does he get an aura?
Yes, so your character, you can go in the screen and you can see your little character you made, and there's an actual gauge on the side. It's light side and dark side, and the decisions you make will move it up to light side or dark side. So when you do play dark side, your character gets hunched over, starts getting a gray skin about him. But if you play light side, your character who's standing straight, and that thing all of a sudden starts getting this heroic stance with this glowing light behind him. And towards the end of the game, like you said, you get this actual blue aura around. I'm sweating talking about this game. That's how much I love this game. You get a blue aura around you. Oh, I can't speak any more about this game. Only just to say, I was telling Steve earlier, I repurchased it on the Xbox One, thinking that maybe it won't live up to the hype, and I got so emotional playing it again because it was just that good. That's why I'm sweating now.
Oh boy. All right.
That's it. Beat that, son.
Let us go to
Next.
the vote. I'm going to go ahead and have you vote first.
Okay. Well,
Here, let me stand this up so we can see it real good here. Open the case a little bit
yeah,
there. There we are.
I'm going to preface this by anchoring this story.
Oh, God.
Steve, we've known each other for a very long time, and Steve, you're a good guy. You're a good friend. You're very funny. You're an amazing family man, and you're a hardworking guy. With
Getting
that,
buttered up here, baby. I'm a piece of bread and he's the butter.
with that all being said, I appreciate you in my life, but to dare think that your little flying game has anything on one of the greatest RPGs ever made, let alone one of the greatest franchises attached to it, you're out of your mind. This game, don't get me wrong, I don't mind Disney, Star Wars, or anything. This was before Disney's money. This was straight LucasArts and BioWare at their finest. Son, the choice is easy for me. Knights of the Old Republic, all the way. I don't know
Okay.
what the bird was.
Well, his very animated vote is cast. So, the score stands 1 point to 0. So, do we end in a tie?
Good end of the tie.
Actually, you know what? In the future, or right now, when we end in a tie, we should do a tiebreaker with voting in the comment section or in a poll.
I agree.
Actually, you know what?
Oh.
Let's just put a poll up. Unofficial. Favorite Star Wars game of the two? It'll be Knights of the Old Republic, Rogue Squadron, or other. So vote now on the iCard. Okay,
Absolutely.
but now for the winner or tie. My choice between these two, best Star
So
Wars game of all
nervous.
time. My choice is a flat-out masterpiece. My choice, I would go as far as to say one of the best of the genre, not just in Star Wars, but I mean across the board in the genre. My
He's
choice
still gonna be talking about
is
both.
an absolute must-play game, and if you don't, you are absolutely doing yourself a disservice. My choice is a 10 out of 10 on any scale. My choice is Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh, victory comes back to me. Thank you.
I don't know
Thank you.
why I didn't even just pick that also. Like, obviously we wouldn't have known that we picked the same game, but it seems so obvious because, like you said, I am Mr. RPG. I love RPGs. And maybe when I think Star Wars, my brain is just programmed to not think about RPGs. It just seems like it's such a missed opportunity for me. I mean, we did a favorite Mario game, and I went to an
remember
RPG. Like, hello.
I also think the other problem with this, and I know why a lot of people skip the game, is because it takes place 4,000 years in the
Yeah,
past.
but who cares? That's awesome, though.
That is, it gives them love. But the problem is there's so many amazing Star Wars games out there. We were discussing earlier of Republic Commando. That was a great game. Even that Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, that
That
came
is
out.
a
That was a
fantastic game.
fantastic
I was a
game.
huge fan of Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer.
Oh,
I
that was
love
a
that
fun
game.
Even like Racer Vengeance, the one that came out on PS2. We're growing up
Never
Anakin.
played that one.
There, Bounty Hunter. That was another.
Oh, you know what's another great one? Dark Forces.
Dark Forces.
The, oh my goodness, the Doom-like game on the PC. I think it went multi-platform eventually
Yeah.
at some point.
It was
But
on
yeah, on the
PlayStation
PC.
as well.
Oh my gosh,
That's
there's
why
so many good ones.
I'm sure when we get other people commenting, because everybody's gonna have their own favorite Star Wars game. But when I think of the best, I think about the most fleshed out, amazingly written game. And so much. Do you know how much dialogue was in that game? It was ridiculous.
I have a sneaky suspicion, right? Who used to do this with the reading the cards through the envelope? Johnny Carson. The Johnny Carson moment here. I can see the poll now. I feel like the bar for Rogue Squadron is going to be very small, and the bar for KOTOR is going to be very big, with a little bit on the other.
Fair enough.
All right, well, I think that about covers it, bud.
Absolutely.
So, anything you want to add, or are we good?
No, this is it, man. I love Star Wars. It's amazing. Everybody go see it when it comes out. I don't know why I'm plugging the movie. Yeah, you're going to see it anyway. I love Star Wars, okay? Thank you for making Star Wars in my life. I know it's for children. I don't care.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's fun. All right? Lightsabers. All right? Rough. I don't know. It's good. I can't help it.
Well then,
Roughy looking. That's what I was going
this
for.
game's still good. I think that just about does it. For the Adventurers Guild, I'm Steve,
Always Jesse.
and this has been Show and Tell, and we shall see you in the next one.
May the force be with you.
Always.